If you don't talk much, the world takes it personally. Have you noticed that? People don't just accept your silence. They react to it as if it is an insult. They project their own insecurities onto your blank canvas. If you sit quietly in a meeting, they assume you are disengaged. If you listen more than you speak on a date, they assume you are boring. If you stay calm during an argument, they call you cold, arrogant, or stuck up. And the label that sticks the hardest, the one that follows you from the playground to the corporate office, is the word defective. They tell you to come out of your shell, as if your personality is a prison that you need to escape. They tell you to speak up, as if what you have to say isn't worth waiting for. But here's the truth that the loud world misses completely. Being quiet is not the same thing as being empty, and it is definitely not the same thing as being weak. For a select group of people, silence is a high-functioning operating system. It is a form of intelligence that relies on data processing rather than data broadcasting. It is a nervous system choice. It is a way of moving through the world with intention, precision, and depth. But because you live in a world that worships extroversion, a world that mistakes volume for confidence, you have likely spent your entire life thinking something is wrong with you. You have spent years trying to perform a personality that isn't yours. If you have been quiet most of your life, there is a strong chance your silence isn't a weakness. It is a clue. It points to hidden traits, psychological superpowers, that most people never learn to recognize because they are too busy making noise. But we are going to recognize them today. In this video, we are going to dissect the anatomy of the quiet person. We are going to look at the 6 hidden traits that define you. We are going to separate the biology of introversion from the scars of trauma. And we are going to learn how to stop apologizing for the way you were built. Before we unlock the traits, we have to perform a surgical separation of 2 concepts that get fused together: preference and protection. Society uses the word quiet as a blanket term, but biologically and psychologically, there are 2 very different reasons why someone might not speak. Reason 1, the biological sensitivity. This is often called introversion, but it's deeper than just liking alone time. It is about dopamine. Research suggests that quiet people often have a different dopamine pathway in the brain. You are more sensitive to it. A loud person needs high stimulation, loud music, crowds, shouting to feel normal. You get the same level of stimulation from a quiet conversation, a book, or just thinking. When you go into a loud environment, you aren't just annoyed. Your nervous system is literally overdosing on stimulation. Your silence is not shyness. It is battery preservation. You are shutting down the output valve so you can process the input. Reason 2, the learned survival strategy. This is where it gets darker. Some people are not quiet by nature. They are quiet by training. If you grew up in a home where the adults were emotionally unpredictable, where a small mistake could lead to an explosion, you learned a very specific lesson. Invisibility is safety. If you speak, you can be targeted. If you have an opinion, you can be mocked. If you show emotion, it can be used against you. So, the child learns to sever the connection between their inner world and their mouth. You learn to watch the room. You learn to assess the threat level before you breathe. This isn't introversion. This is a trauma response known as the freeze state. Most quiet people are a mixture of both. You might be naturally deep and thoughtful, preference, but you might also be terrified of being judged, protection. To heal, we have to know which is which. As we go through these 6 traits, I want you to ask yourself, is this trait my power, or is this trait my shield? Hidden trait number 1, you observe what others ignore. While the rest of the world is busy broadcasting, you are receiving. Quiet people are often the most observant people in the room, not because they are nosy, but because their attention is not being used up by talking. When you are talking, you are projecting. When you are silent, you are absorbing. But this isn't just about seeing who is wearing what. It is about pattern recognition. Your brain is constantly mapping human behavior. You notice the micro expressions that flash across someone's face for 0.5 seconds before they put their mask back on. You notice the slight change in tone when someone is lying. You notice the power dynamics in a group. Who is the leader? Who is the follower? Who is pretending to be confident but is actually terrified? You are seeing the subtext of reality. This is why quiet people often feel like they are psychic or have strong gut instincts. It's not magic, it's data. Your brain has collected thousands of tiny clues that the loud people missed because they were too busy thinking about what they were going to say next. The downside? This can make you feel alienated. You see the fakeness in people that everyone else seems to love. You see the manipulation in the boss that everyone else thinks is charismatic. It is lonely to see the truth when everyone else is buying the lie. And because you see so much, you process slowly. You can't just have a quick opinion because you have too much information to sort through. You are rendering a 4K video while everyone else is taking a Polaroid. Hidden trait number 2, you treat words like currency, not confetti. In our culture, we are taught that silence is awkward, so most people develop a habit of filler speech. They talk to soothe their own anxiety. They talk to prove they are present. They talk to avoid the intimacy of a pause. Quiet people don't have this reflex. You have a high-functioning internal editor. Before you speak, your brain runs a simulation. Is this true? Is this necessary? Is this the best way to say it? Will this be understood? If the thought doesn't pass all 4 gates, you simply don't say it. You would rather be silent than say something meaningless. You would rather be silent than be misunderstood. This trait often makes people think you are judging them. When you stare at them while they speak, thinking about your response, they get nervous. They think, why aren't they validating me? Why aren't they nodding and saying, every 2 seconds? They mistake your thoughtfulness for disapproval. But the power of this trait is precision. When a quiet person finally raises their hand in a meeting or speaks up in an argument, everyone usually stops to listen. Why? Because of scarcity. People know that you don't speak for no reason. If you are breaking your silence, it must be important. You are the sniper, not the machine gunner. You take one shot, but you hit the target. However, the shadow side of this is perfectionism. How many times have you had a brilliant idea or a funny joke, but you spent too long editing it in your head? By the time you perfected the sentence, the conversation moved on, and you were left holding that gem inside your chest, feeling the frustration of missed potential. That is the curse of the editor. It protects you from looking stupid, but it also stops you from being spontaneous. If this resonated, you belong here. Subscribe to Unfelt and hit the bell icon. Join us in exploring the quiet mind. Let's continue. Hidden trait number 3. You don't just understand feelings, you physically absorb them. There is a myth that quiet people are cold, stoic, or unfeeling. The reality is usually the exact opposite. Quiet people often develop a thick outer shell, precisely because their inner center is so soft and raw. This is linked to mirror neurons. Mirror neurons are the parts of the brain that allow us to feel what we see. In many quiet, sensitive people, these neurons are hyperactive. If you walk into a room where 2 people have just been arguing, you can feel the tension in the air. It hits your skin like humidity. If someone is embarrassed, you feel their shame in your own stomach. If someone is grieving, you feel a heaviness in your own chest. This is called somatic empathy. You feel the emotions of others in your body. This is why you might withdraw from people. It's not because you dislike them, it's because being around people is an emotional workout. If you have a friend who is constantly dramatic or negative, you don't just hear their problems. You carry them home with you. You wake up the next day feeling tired, and you don't know why. You learn to be quiet as a way to seal your energy field. If you open your mouth, you open the door. And if you open the door, the flood of other people's emotions comes rushing in. So you stay closed. You stay guarded, not to be mean, but to survive. You are the emotional anchor in the storm, but no one asks who anchors you. Hidden trait number 4. You are hyper-aware of your own existence. This is the double-edged sword of high self-awareness. On one side, it makes you considerate. You are rarely the person who is rude to waiters, who blocks the aisle in the grocery store, or who talks too loudly on the phone. You are aware of how your presence affects others. But on the dark side, this turns into the spotlight effect. This is a psychological bias where we overestimate how much people notice us. Because you notice everything, you assume everyone else notices everything too. If you stumble over a word, you think, everyone thinks I'm an idiot. If your hand shakes while holding a coffee cup, you think, they can see my anxiety. If there is an awkward silence, you think, "This is my fault. I am failing at being human." Your brain becomes a 24/7 surveillance camera pointed at yourself. This is exhausting. It takes a massive amount of CPU power to run this background program of self-monitoring. This is why you are quiet. It's hard to talk freely when you are constantly auditing your own performance. You are trying to be the actor and the director at the same time. And often this voice, the inner critic, is not yours. It is the voice of a parent, a teacher, or a bully from 10 years ago. It is the ghost of past criticism haunting your present silence. The tragedy is that while you are worrying about how you look, everyone else is just worrying about themselves. You are imprisoned in a cell that isn't locked. Hidden trait number 5, you are hard to reach but impossible to lose. Quiet people view relationships differently than extroverts. Extroverts often view relationships like a network, wide, expanding, interconnected. Quiet people view relationships like an archipelago, a few isolated deep islands. You don't trust easily. You have a high barrier to entry. You don't share your secrets with people you just met. You don't show your vulnerable side until you have gathered enough data to know that this person will not hurt you. You are testing them. Are they safe? Do they listen? Do they gossip? But once someone passes that test, once they enter the inner circle, your loyalty is absolute. You are the friend who will pick up the phone at 4 a.m. You are the partner who stays when things get ugly. You are the keeper of secrets. People know they can tell you anything, and it will go into the vault and never come out. Because you value depth over breadth, you invest heavily in the few people you love. But this trait has a dangerous side, the tolerance for toxicity. Because it takes you so long to let someone in, you are terrified of letting them go. Quiet people often stay in bad relationships or bad friendships far too long. You rationalize their behavior. You think, but I worked so hard to build this connection. You confuse loyalty with endurance. You think that being a good friend means absorbing pain without complaining. Remember, a vault is good for protecting valuables, but don't lock yourself inside it with a thief. Hidden trait number 6. You crave vertical conversation in a horizontal world. This is the defining struggle of the quiet person's social life. Most social interaction is horizontal. It skates across the surface. It covers a lot of ground but has no depth. It's about the weather, sports, celebrity gossip, the news, the what do you do for work? To you, this feels like suffocating. It feels like chewing on styrofoam. It is filling, but it is not nourishing. You crave vertical conversation. You want to drop an anchor and go deep. You want to know, what are you afraid of? What is the childhood memory that shaped you? Do you believe in fate? What is the one thing you regret most? Quiet people aren't antisocial. They are anti-superficial. You often stay quiet in groups because the conversation is stuck on the surface, and you don't know how to play that game. You feel like an alien pretending to be a human, but put you in a corner with one other person, talking about the nature of consciousness or the meaning of love. You won't shut up. You will talk for hours. The problem is, the world doesn't start with vertical conversation. You have to wade through the shallow water to get to the deep end. And often, quiet people refuse to get their feet wet, so they never reach the depth they crave. You stand on the shore, watching others play, waiting for someone to invite you to the deep end. But usually, you have to swim there yourself. Now that we understand the anatomy, we have to make a choice. There is a version of quietness that is powerful, and there is a version that is painful. Quiet power is when you are silent because you are content. You are observing. You are peaceful. You could speak if you wanted to, but you choose not to. You are the king or queen of your own kingdom. Quiet fear is when you are silent because you are choking. You want to join the joke, but you can't. You want to defend yourself, but you freeze. You go home and replay the conversation for 3 hours, hating yourself for not saying the right thing. If you are stuck in quiet fear, please understand, this is not a personality defect. This is a nervous system injury. Your body has learned that voice equals danger. Maybe you were interrupted constantly as a child. Maybe you were mocked for being too sensitive. Maybe you were the invisible child in a chaotic family, and staying quiet was the only way to avoid the drama. Your silence saved you back then. It was a brilliant survival strategy, but you aren't in that house anymore. You aren't that child anymore. The war is over, but you are still living in the bunker. It is time to come out. How? Not by becoming an extrovert, not by faking a loud personality. That will just burn you out. You reclaim your voice by building safety. Here is a 4-step protocol to move from quiet fear to quiet power. Step 1, the low-stakes practice. Stop trying to be confident in big meetings or on dates. The stakes are too high. Your amygdala, the fear center, will hijack you. You need to practice speaking where it doesn't matter. Ask a stranger for the time. Make a small comment to the cashier. Say, "Good morning," to a neighbor you usually ignore. You are retraining your nervous system. You are providing your brain with evidence. See, I spoke and I didn't die. I spoke and I wasn't rejected. Accumulate these small wins. They compound. Step 2, the physical reset, the breath. When you want to speak but feel that throat lock, that is your vagus nerve constricting. It is a physical freeze response. You cannot think your way out of it. You have to breathe your way out. Before you speak, take one deep breath into your belly and exhale longer than you inhale. This signals your brain to switch off the threat mode. Speak on the exhale. Let the words ride the breath out. Step 3, kill the editor. Challenge yourself to speak before you are ready. Adopt the 70% rule. You don't need to be 100% accurate, funny, or profound. You just need to be 70% clear. Give yourself permission to be boring. Give yourself permission to stutter. The goal is not performance. The goal is participation. Breaking the silence is more important than being perfect. Step 4, find your medium. If speaking in groups is too hard right now, find another way to get the signal out. Write, draw, code, build. Many of the world's most powerful people were quiet. Writers, scientists, philosophers. They didn't dominate the dinner table. They dominated history through their work. Your voice doesn't have to be audio. It just has to be expression. Don't let the inside rot because you couldn't find a way to get it outside. Let's end with this. The world loves to celebrate the loud, the entertainers, the shouters, the ones who demand attention. But the world is built by the quiet. It is built by the observers who saw a problem no one else saw. It is built by the deep thinkers who stayed in the room to solve the equation when everyone else went to the party. It is built by the empathetic souls who felt the pain of others and created art to heal it. Your silence is not a void. It is a space where things are created. You have a richness inside you that the noisy world is desperate for, even if they don't know how to ask for it. So, stop trying to kill the quiet parts of you. Stop trying to turn up your volume to match the static of the world. Instead, tune into your own frequency. Trust your observation. Value your words. Protect your energy. You don't need to shout to be heard. You just need to be true. And sometimes, the most powerful thing in a room full of noise is the one person who is comfortable in the silence. If you are part of the quiet tribe, I want you to leave a comment. Not a long one, unless you want to. Just write, "I am listening." Let's see how many of us are out there. And if you struggle with the fear of rejection that keeps you silent, I have a video on the psychology of coming next. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss the notification. Take your time, speak when you're ready. We'll be listening.